Hello, I wanted to provide a little bit of an overview of the leadership analysis paper. There's obviously a written overview on the on my Methodist that explains what I'm looking for, and then also a rubric, but I know sometimes it's helpful just to have the instructor talk through what I'm looking for. So what it is in terms of the end product is going to be a 4 to 5 page paper that does not include title and references. And the idea is that I want you to be able to apply the concepts from class and from other scholarly research to a real life organization, healthcare organization. So what you will do is you will select an organization. Well, first you'll select a person that you know or that you have access to that works in a healthcare setting. This can be a person who is in a leadership role, a nurse manager, a director, an administrator, but it doesn't have to be. It could also just be an individual that works in that healthcare setting, but if it is important that they have several years of experience working there so they have a feel for and an understanding of the leadership style. So it can either be a leader who talks about their own leadership style, or you can interview someone who works at the organization and they can respond to your questions in terms of how they perceive the leadership to be at that organization. And then you will integrate the content that you learn from the class to the Northhouse and Patterson books. You'll also select at least 2 other sources. You need a total of 3. One of those sources can be either Northhouse or Patterson, but then you need at least 2 other outside scholarly sources. So that could be a journal article. Likely you'll use a journal article, and you can utilize the library for help if you have not yet utilized. I'm guessing most of you have utilized our databases and are comfortable finding journal articles, but if not, email me or you can email the librarians and they can help you. So what needs to be included in the paper is a description of the organization. So say for example you chose Methodist Hospital, you would in the first part of your paper talk about the history, the mission, and then the leadership structure. Who's involved there? You know, is there a CEO? Is there a board of directors? How are floors managed? Is there a nurse manager? Is there an assistant manager? If you're doing maybe a long-term care facility, is there a DON or director of nursing, that type of thing. And then you'll want to give me a description of the person that you interview in terms of what their title and role and responsibilities are, so that we know, is this a leader or is this somebody who is talking about the leadership of their boss or supervisor. And then you'll analyze the organization's leadership style. Things like, are they task-oriented or relationship-oriented? Are they more theory X or theory Y, democratic, authoritarian? All of those concepts that we've talked about in class. What leadership traits do they exhibit? What leadership skills do they exhibit? And then you'll also talk about their approach to conflict and their communication style. And we'll talk more about conflict and communication style, of course, in the Patterson text. And then at the end, and this is really important, you're going to conduct your final analysis. So what are the strengths and weaknesses or challenges regarding leadership at this organization? And this is where you can bring in those research articles in order to be able to critique the organization. Maybe best practices in healthcare are to have this type of leadership style, and it was not exhibited in the workplace that you interviewed. Or maybe it could support the good things that are being done at your organization. So it's typically in the final analysis where you'll bring in those research articles. So some things to think about: make sure you cite at least 3 sources. Again, one of those sources can either be the Northhouse or Patterson textbook, but then you need to have 2 outside sources, outside of class readings, also included. I want you to use correct APA formatting, so in terms of your title page, your header, your page numbers, all of that should be correct APA. And then I also want you to provide me a list of your interview questions at the end of the paper. So after you've written your paper, after your reference page, include not the answers. You don't need to take notes in terms of how they respond. I just want to know what are the questions that you asked your the person you interviewed. And then lastly, this paper can be in first person, so you can use I throughout the paper is fine. Kind of a step-by-step of what you need to do. First, you need to pick an individual and that works at a healthcare setting that you can interview. You should do this week because you need to email me by the end of week 2 who you're interviewing and what organization. That's step 2 is to email me. Then you want to develop that list of interview questions and set up the interview. I strongly encourage you to try to get that set up. At least contact your person and find out when they're available to get something set up, since this is just a 5-week course. Then you'll conduct your interview. At the same time, or while you're waiting to conduct that interview, you can be doing your research to find your additional articles. And then the last step is to write the paper and pull it all together. As always, if you have any questions on this, please let me know.